what I want to do today is I want to be able to provide some clarity around how you can walk away with an action plan so that you know your service is valued and how to position and package it. All right, so what I'm going to cover today is how to own your value first by mastering your mindset and confidence around the value that you deliver as an entrepreneur, as service-based entrepreneur, or whether you've got a product. This is going to be applicable to you. So I'm going to also touch on key questions that you need to ask when you are thinking about pricing your products or services. And the third thing I'm going to cover off is what you must have in place, before you can get paid what you're worth. And I'm going to go through each of these in more detail. So this is all about how you can ensure that you're being paid what you're worth, right? And everybody wants to be paid what they're worth because that's how we create profitable businesses. So the very first thing that we're going to talk about is the key ways to own your value, So the very first thing is you need to go deep and understand the value of your offerings. That's the first thing I'm going to cover off. We need to be aware of any past money thoughts and experiences, right? We all have those. We need to avoid those gremlins, and we need to approach our clients with utmost care and love. Okay, and I'm going to go into a little bit more detail about that. But, quite honestly, this is really taking a strategic approach, right? So there are so many approaches out there about how to deal with pricing. And I want to share with you our method, which is primarily based on the psychological and perceived value of your product or service. And the approach that I'm going to be teaching today can really be used in tandem with so many other different pricing strategies out there. And you've got a whole host of really amazing experts that are going to teach that to you today. And so I want you to think about how you can use this in tandem with, other different pricing strategies as well. So avoiding those gremlins and approaching your clients with utmost care and love are some of the things that I'm going to dive into in a little bit more detail. All righty. So the first step that we need to do is we need to go deep and we need to understand the perceived value of your offerings. What do I mean by that? So what I see very often is that owning your value comes up a lot for entrepreneurs, and it shows up in undercharging. Okay, it shows up in undercharging. And so the question becomes, how do you step into your value, right? How do you step into your value where you can charge a higher fee and command a higher fee and get people to say yes to your product or your service? Okay, so a couple of things we need to look at here. So the first thing I want you to think about is, where is it present that you're not accepting of your value in the marketplace? Okay, so where is it present that you're not accepting of your value in the marketplace? I'm going to give you an example of what I mean by that. So as you're doing an inventory, where does this show up for you? Does it show up in over delivery? Right? So are you over delivering your services or your products? And you're over delivering in a way that it ends up being unprofitable for you, right? So it's not over delivering in a way that adds more value that is important. It's over delivering, and it's making things not profitable in your business. Okay, so is it showing up that way? And you know that, right? You intuitively know that. As I'm speaking to you here, I know you know that. As business entrepreneurs, you know exactly, you know your business well, and you can intuitively tell me what is, where things are becoming unprofitable for you. Are you discounting when you're asked to do so, right? And maybe you're just plain undercharging. You're starting at a lower price point. And so really, if you're time broke or your money broke, you're undercharging. Okay, I want you to write that down. So important. If you are time broke or money broke, you are undercharging. And so when I started my business 12 years ago, I was over delivering and I was undercharging, right? And so I found myself getting burnt out very quickly. I didn't feel satisfied with the work that I was doing. And quite frankly, I was a little resentful. Right? So the first thing you need to do is you need to be aware of where this is showing up for you. Does that make sense? You need to see where this is showing up for you and then really think about it. What's the impact to yourself? What's the impact on the world? And what's the impact on your family, on your clients by you undercharging? Okay, what is the impact when you are undercharging? And so it actually has a really massive ripple effect, right? When you don't own your value, because it has an impact on your business, it has an impact on your family, it has an impact on your clients' results, right? The results that you're trying to get for your clients. And so here are a couple of ways to remedy this. You want to think about starting to make decisions from where you want to be as opposed to where you are right now. All right. So what would the new way of being look like, and how would it feel for you to actually own your value? So let me give you an example. Let's say you have a goal of generating $100,000 a year. How would you interact with others if you are already operating from that point? Okay. How would you find your prospects if you were running a $100,000 business? Where would you advertise? Okay. Who would you connect with? And what would the client experience look like? Okay, do you see where I'm going with this, right? So the impact of owning your value to the world, your family, and your clients is huge. It is huge when you take that step. So a great way to remedy this is to think like you're already there. All right. So here's another great idea for you to do is if you have a sheet of paper handy, which would be great, or maybe you take notes on your laptop or your mobile phone. I want you to write down all the meaningful results that you have achieved for your clients, whether your product or your service has achieved for your clients. And I want you to think about all the transformations, the outcomes, and all the positive things that people have told you about your product or your service. Okay, and write them all down. I want you to read it and I want you to absorb it. Okay, this is a real life example. A client of mine who's a mental health expert, she's a therapist, and she was struggling to increase her fees. She had a real difficult time with increasing her fees, and she was undercharging, obviously. And so one of the things that I asked her to do was to write down everything that she has achieved for her clients over the years, right? And so she presented that to me. And she said things like, over the years, she has saved marriages. She has saved lives from suicide. She has kept families together, and she has helped people love again. And she was going on and on about all the things that she has accomplished over the years. And it was a true eye-opener for her. And an eye-opener for me too. I was just like, oh my gosh, I mean, that's amazing, right? But we need to be reminded of the things that we can do to add value to the lives of our clients. And so she didn't realize all the ways in which she's helped people over, in this mental health space. She didn't realize all the things that she was doing. And so when she wrote them down, she managed to see that. And so she increased her fees and she more than doubled her income in less than 2 months. And everything changed for her, right? I mean, her whole life changed when her business became super profitable and she was able to live the lifestyle that she so desired. So I want you to think about how you can do that too, okay? Let me just move on to the next slide here. All right. The second thing I want you to be aware of is your money beliefs, your money thoughts, and your money experiences. We all have them. Every one of us have them, and they're each so different and unique. So what are your beliefs about money? How has money shaped your views? How did your family impose their views of money as you were growing up? Right. And so, I mean, I know in my household, it was always all about how to save money, right? Did you buy that on sale? Right. So all of these things shape our future views as we get older. And so we all have our own money stories, and make no doubt about it, it definitely influences our views. Okay. And so, for example, I'm going to give you a quick example here, but if you're a discount seeker, right, you love to shop and you love looking for discounts because you never want to pay full price for anything. So chances are when you have to present your offer, right, you're going to, and you're getting some kind of disagreement, right? You present your offer and they're like, I'm not sure, blah, blah, blah. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to automatically run to discounting your fees. Well, here, maybe I can discount it by 10%, or maybe right? Because those money views will influence how you charge and how you price your services, right? Does anyone agree with that, right? Does anyone here do that? right? Do they think about discounting their fees automatically? Do you think about your money thoughts? Let me know in the chat box. I'd love to see what's coming up here. I'm going to do a quick check-in. Fully agree. Yes, yes. Oh gosh, there's so many coming in, but I'm getting a lot of yeses, some no's. Yep, yep, absolutely spot on. Fully agree. Awesome, good stuff. Yeah, so we're on the same page. We're definitely on the same page here. And so another belief is that maybe you believe that your company can only reach a certain revenue. Right? Beyond that, there's just no way that you can achieve that, right? And so, you'll never really have, you feel like you'll never really have that money abundance. So all it is all about starting with money awareness, right? I want you to think about, check in with your money beliefs and align them with your desires and goals for your business. And so that means you need to be willing to break your old money rules, your old money thoughts. And so I know this is not easy to do. I know it isn't easy to do, but you need to step forward in faith. Okay. So as business owners, we take risks all the time, every day, right? And so there are no guarantees. You know that, and I know there are no guarantees in business. And so we wish that there would be a clear path, so that we didn't have to dodge and weave, but that's just not reality. And so, if you have a goal to reach 50,000, 100,000, whatever it may be, you can't be engaging in the same activities that you're engaging right now at the level that you are operating from. So let's say, for example, your business is operating at $40,000 a year. You cannot engage in the same activities to get to $100,000 in revenue. Okay. So that means that you need to change your money thought about investing more in your, so it might mean making bigger investments in your business, right? Maybe you have to hire one part-time staff member, or maybe you need to hire more staff, or maybe you need to engage in advertising, or maybe you need coaching and mentoring. You need to think about that. So you need to up-level your money beliefs, right? You need to up-level your money beliefs from where you are right now to reach that goal. Okay. So maybe your expenses are kept at a minimum right now, because you're, earning that lower income, but you're going to have to think about, if you wanted to get to 50, if you want to get to 100, you want to get to 300, whatever it is, $300,000, whatever that number is, you're going to need to be able to up level your money story. Okay. So this requires a change in your money thoughts. So who's ready to update their money story? Let me know. Give me a yes in the chat box. Right? We all got to up level. We got to up level that story for sure. We are feeding ourselves this information. All right. Let's see what's happening here in the chat. Yes. Yes. Awesome. Good. I am so happy that everyone feels ready to up level their money story, because honestly, that is one of the key places people need to start in order to stop undercharging. Okay. All right, let's move on here, because I like to talk, and I'm seeing that I have a lot of slides left to teach. So let me keep moving here. All right, avoiding the gremlins. So when you own your value, you really need to ensure that you are avoiding those gremlins. What do I mean by that? Imposter syndrome, right? Everyone can relate to the imposter syndrome. Maybe you might be telling yourself, who am I to offer this price? Or, can I really offer this kind of value? I don't have the credentials. I don't have the experience to do this. And so these thought processes influence how we price our services. Okay. And so some other gremlins to watch out for when you're thinking about pricing is fear of failure. What if people say no to my price? Yeah. So what if they do? Let's move on, right? People are going to say no, and you're going to get yeses. So you're going to have to be prepared for that. Fear of success. I see this one too, believe it or not. And what this means is, if I were to price my services a lot higher, and I really earn that income, and, I earn that revenue, and my company becomes super successful, what are people going to think of me? What's my family and friends what are they going to think of me? Will they treat me differently, right? So people do fear success. Believe it or not, that is something that truly is experienced out there. And the other thing to avoid when you're pricing your services is really don't compare yourself to others doing the same thing as you, right? Your competition. I could never charge that amount, right? You may be thinking, I could never charge that amount because I don't see my competitors charging that amount. So how can I, right? That is another gremlin. that comes in often that you need to avoid. Okay, I hope that's making sense. The last thing you need to do to own your value is you need to approach your clients with the utmost care and love. So what do I mean by that? So this is all about being of service to your clients in a way that really provides a VIP service. So when you own your value, you know that you can serve your clients at a higher level, right? And so you can get them results that they're looking for, and you believe that you can really move them from an ideal state to, within a very short amount of time. Okay. And so a great way to do this is to decide what kind of attention and care would you give to your clients. And I always say to people, envision the clients in front of you, envision the clients, well, no longer in front of us, but on our screens, right? In this new virtual world. Envision them as a family member. Okay, that's what I want you to do. What would you tell, a really good friend? What would you tell a really good aunt, an aunt or uncle who you love dearly about the situation that they're in based on your experience, right? So if you were a financial professional and you knew that your dear aunt or uncle needed life insurance because of this reason, right? Where would you come from? You would come from a place of love. You would come from a place of caring, right? And so you need to have this mindset when you start approaching your clients, because the value will be seen, right? That is one way of demonstrating the value that you deliver and how you can own your value. Because to be quite honest, being honest, being forthcoming, and being passionate to help them reach a solution, it will come through to your ideal prospects. I promise you it will. So when you come from this kind of mindset and approach the client experience from that way, it actually shifts to a more elevated one. So I want you to think about how you can do that, okay? All right, so what is the outcome if you don't own your value? This is a really important slide, As professionals, as I mentioned, we tend to underestimate the time and resources it takes to deliver a service or a product. And so we need to think about the outcome and the transformation that it provides, right? So before we go into the pricing strategies for service, in particular, more so for service-based businesses, it's important to understand the steps, the time, the costs involved when creating an experience or a transformation, whether you have a product or a service. They each create a transformation of some kind, an experience of some kind, right? And so I'm going to go into a little bit more detail in the workshop at 2:00 on this one, but it's important to remember that when you provide an outcome, people are paying you based on a high perceived value. Okay. And so one of the things that, let me give you a quick example. So let's say, for example, you are a divorce financial professional and you are giving advice to a client, right? And so you're basically saying you want to give them financial peace of mind, and they want to know that their children are going to thrive after divorce, right? So you need to think about, what is that worth to this client? What is it worth to your clients by providing this transformation? Like, peace of mind, right? Knowing that your children are going to thrive after divorce. Like, these are the things that people pay a high value for. And it doesn't matter if you have a service or a product. Your product can provide a very high value to people as well. Absolutely, right? So what is it worth for a person struggling with mental illness to have hope again? Okay. What is it worth for a person to know that they can continue to live a certain lifestyle after their spouse passes away? What is it worth to a company to know that they're able to keep happy, satisfied, and productive employees, right? I mean, I could go on about this. So it's really important here to think about how this is showing up in undercharging. Okay. So it leads to underpricing your services. And what happens is it will stunt your growth and it will kill your profitability when you underprice. So if you don't own your value, you are underpricing. Okay. And it will actually, it has future consequences to your business. It may be helpful in the short term, right, to underprice, but in the long term, it will not benefit your company. And so you need to think about this. And I see this all the time with clients, particularly in, businesses, service-based businesses, where they price as low as they can, to get as much business as they can. And then they run themselves to the ground. They run themselves to the ground. And so they've got lower priced clients that they're servicing, and they cannot do other things in their business. It pulls them away from doing other important things like time to market, time to sell, time to build a team. All of these things are being pulled away from you when you are undercharging. Okay. And so you will continually attract broke clients. And you know, the amount of results that you'll get them will be 0 to none because they have no skin in the game. And it's going to definitely lead to burnout and stress. So we have found this time and time again. So it's really, really important that you think about, you know, how to own your value, because if you don't, these are the 3 things that can happen. All right, so let's move into some of the key questions that you need to consider when you're pricing your services. So, you know, we always start with understanding your client's pain points and challenges faced by your market, right? That's super important, which a lot of you already know that. And what are the outcomes? What are the results that they desire after having worked with you? Right? After having used your product, what are the results, right, that they are looking for? And so you need to be able to articulate that and translate that and understand what this means when you're starting to price your services, right? And so the solutions, what are the results? What are the solutions you provide? And so that's how you can start to see the perceived value that you need to consider when looking at your pricing, right? And as I said, these are all like many things that you need to consider when you're looking at your pricing, and that is definitely, one of them. The next thing you need to do is, what will the process look like, right, to help them achieve these results? And you need to spend your time understanding how to craft this process. And in the workshop, I'm going to actually show you how to do that, because you need to really break down your process so that you understand, and if you take one product offering, one service offering, what is the process from start to finish that you need to do in order to deliver the results? And that will help you understand how you need to price as well. A lot of people don't do that. Okay. So another key question to look at is, what's the yearly sales goal, and how many clients and products do you need to sell in order to achieve your goal? Right. And so, that's your basic math. You need to know that, to know how much you want to earn, how much your company wants to earn, and how much you need to sell to get there. Right. And so, some things that you're going to look at or consider are your hourly rate, maybe fixed prices, your time invested, perceived value. Like, these are all things that you're going to build into that. And so how you're paid basically means how you want to be paid. Right. So do you want to look at a payment plan? Do you want to, and how often do you want to be paid? Is it paid in installments? Is there a deposit up front? And this really all relates to the cash flow in your business, So recently I was working with an attorney, and she was moving from an hourly rate to a flat fee. And she's a divorce attorney. And so when she moved from hourly to flat fee, her income went up substantially. So an hourly rate to a flat fee, her income soared. I think by that month it went up by $20,000 simply by doing that. And I'm going to go into a little bit more detail, some of the ways that you can do that so that you're pricing your services accordingly. All right. So you need to also look at your unique skill sets, right? What's unique to you, unique to your process? What is the best way to do this that gives you the superior results for your clients, right? Everyone has a unique experience or solution. Everyone does. Okay. So there's no one else out there quite like you. And I mean that sincerely, right? There's no one else out there who can do what you do exactly the way that you do it. Okay. And so that's what's unique, right? So maybe people can sense that you deeply care more than your competitor, right? Or maybe people sense that you're super committed to the outcome more than your competitor, right? We each have our own unique strengths. And even though, a lot of us do the same things, sell the same services, we are still unique in the way that we deliver them. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense, right? I want you to see that uniqueness is so important. What is the risk if they don't engage in your service or product? And what is the reward if they do? Okay. So this is basically what happens to this prospective client, or all the prospective clients, if they don't engage in your service. Are they going to be stuck where they are right now? Right? Are they going to still be struggling with the issues that they're facing right now? And so if they do engage with you, then what are the benefits they're going to receive? And those are the rewards. You need to be able to articulate that as well. So what can you do to lower risk, raise reward, help them push through fear, and build trust? So let me give you a quick example of how to raise reward. Maybe, you're adding a 6-month check-in call, right, that you would normally charge. And so you would, 6 months into a service or a product, you're doing a call check-in to see how they're doing. And so, or maybe you've decided to offer a discount within a very limited time frame. Or maybe you're giving them access to complimentary information like an educational forum or other resources, right, that are valuable to them. So that's just raising the reward. So when you're looking at pricing, you want to think about how you can do that, right? Lowering your risk. An example of lowering your risk is maybe showing them case studies of people in their exact scenario so that they become more interested in working with you because that trust level increases. All right, I hope that makes sense. And I haven't checked the chat box, but I know we're going to have time for some questions at the end. So I'll do that. I'll leave that opportunity. So please, if you have any questions, feel free to jot those down. All right, so now we're moving into the must-haves, right? So this is the third thing we're talking about, the must-haves before being paid what you're worth. So you need to create some kind of online presence, what I call omnipresence, and access to valuable content that transforms and informs, okay? That transforms and informs. So there are so many potential places that your buyer can hear and see from you. And so you have to gift them with your knowledge and expertise. You have to gift them with your knowledge and expertise. And so omnipresence, very simply, means to be in multiple places where they can learn from you before they buy from you. Okay. And so they get to understand what you represent. They get to understand how you help people. And so examples of this, maybe they hear you on a podcast, right? Maybe they watch you on a webinar. Maybe they're in your private online community. So there's so many different places where you can create this omnipresence, meaning, they see and hear from you in multiple places. Another must-have is you need to package and position your offer so that it has increased value. So this is really all about, it hinges on a couple of things. One is your hourly fee versus a package fee. And I can tell you particularly for services, going the flat fee package rate is the most profitable way to go. And so, if you're trading time for dollars, you're making it very difficult to maintain a profitable business. And so the benefits of a fixed fee or a package price is that they get this solution up front, right? And clients like to know, they really do like to know the end cost. They don't want to be surprised at the end, right? Especially for traditional professionals. And as I said, I've done that with all kinds of service-based professionals in making sure that they're packaging, their services so that there's a flat fee. Now, just as a quick point there, you want to make sure that you add a buffer zone, okay, so that you're paid for the end result and not necessarily the number of hours, right? And so what I mean by that is, so if your package price costs $1,500 and it typically takes about, 10 hours to complete an initiative for clients, then you want to make sure that, that 1,500 really covers like 12 or 14 hours of work so that there is that buffer zone just in case. Right. And so that you don't have to ask people to go back and say, I'm sorry, but you know what, this is going to cost you more money. And in some cases you will have to do that, but you want to try to avoid that. So going a flat fee is really a great way to create high perceived value. And people much prefer to know upfront the total cost. Okay. And another way to look at perceived value is to, how can you add in extra benefits that are going to be valuable to them? So maybe it's, as I mentioned, check-in calls, or maybe there's more accountability that you offer through your service because of this, right? So thinking about different ways that you can add more to create that value that is wanted and needed. So I'm not talking about throwing in an extra PDF that means nothing to people that need your help. I'm referring to very valuable information that they will say, wow, I'm grateful for that because I really needed that information. And it's going to be very different for each of your businesses. Okay. All right. So confidently approaching the elephant in the room. So basically all the roads lead to here, right? All the roads lead to this. Eventually, as you know, owning a business, you have to state your fees. And so this is where everyone in the room wants to curl up in a ball, right? And hide, right? No one likes to talk about money because it brings up so many different emotions for people based on their experiences, based on their financial situation, right? We know that. But we all need to acknowledge the elephant in the room and state the price of your product or service with confidence, right? With confidence and conviction.